Konbanwa, Patoku. I'm here, creator of All Day I Eat Like a Shark and the New Japanese Cooking Club, all about plant-based Japanese food. So, if this is your first time here, consider subscribing for more videos like this one. In this video, we're going to be talking specifically about how to save money eating out on your next trip to Japan. Stay tuned if you want to learn more. In the last couple of videos, we talked about some places that you might want to consider eating at on your next trip to Japan. And in this video, we're going to be taking that a step forward, or I guess to the next level, or to another level, in terms of saving money eating out in Japan. And the first thing that you can do to do that is to eat at a depachika. Depachika is a department store. Depato is how you say department store in Japanese, and depa is the shortening of that, and then chika is underground. So if you think of the subway, chikatetsu is the underground railroad. So that's what that is. So depachika is where you can go to get all kinds of different foods. They usually have bakeries, they have gift shops, like things that you buy for omiyage, for example. If you're visiting a friend, you can pick some regional specialty, which is also known as meibutsu, and that's something that's famous for a certain location or a certain city or region. For example, they have specialty shops that you can get like tea, you can get dashi, for example. You can also get bento, and they have a lot of hot and pre-made foods. They also usually have a grocery store, and the key is not only to go to the depachikas, to go there towards the end of the day before they close, because what happens at the end of the day before they close is they're trying to get rid of all their inventory so they don't have to throw it out. And the way that they do that is they discount everything. So if you've ever gone to depachika at, usually it's around rush hour, which is like the worst time to go, but if you want to save money, you'll notice that around 5, 6 o'clock at night is when the people will start coming out and stamping all the food with discounts. So it can be like 5%, 10%. And the same thing actually happens in the supermarket. So in the supa. Supa is short for supermarket. And that's the second tip that I had for you, is to go and eat at a supermarket or get takeout from a supermarket. So if you go, again, like I mentioned before, at rush hour or towards the end of the day, they usually start to discount everything that's pre-made, including meat and sashimi, or raw fish, and all of the fresh stuff that they want to get rid of by the end of that day. So they'll do like a 5% discount and a 10% discount and then a 15%, depending on where you go, of course. But usually they'll increase that discount if it's still not selling at some places. So that's the second tip that I had for you in terms of saving money on your next trip to Japan. So the third tip that I had is to eat at a teishoku place. Teishoku is a set meal. Teishoku means like a set meal, literally. That's the translation. And what these places are known for is like a traditional Japanese meal. So you'll get usually like a bowl of rice, a bowl of soup, maybe some vegetables, and maybe a piece of fish or a piece of meat, depending on where you go. And usually these are pretty cheap, maybe around 1000 or 1500 yen, depending on where you eat at. And they'll fill you right up. So it's pretty cheap, or pretty reasonable, pretty cheap, and you'll leave with a very satiated stomach and a very happy demeanor, hopefully, after you eat there. Okay, so the fourth one is going to be to cook. Obviously, if you don't have a kitchen, you can't cook, but if you do stay at like an Airbnb or somewhere where you have a shared kitchen or your own private kitchen, then you can buy your groceries at the market and cook your own food. And that'll save you money, because cooking at home is always cheaper than eating out. So that's another tip. Fifth tip that I have for you is to eat at a all-you-can-eat place. So you can find these because it'll say tabe hodai in Japanese. I guess you'll have to know how to read Japanese to see that. So tabe hodai is one place, which means all you can eat. There's also nomi hodai, which is all you can drink. If you're into alcohol, usually places that have that are izakayas. Izakayas are sort of like bars, but not really. They're more like city, I guess you call them like a pub. And there isn't really, I guess, an American equivalent. I guess the pub would be the closest thing, but usually depending on where you go, you might have tables, you might have private rooms, and all you can eat, all you can drink. 2 ways that you can save money there. And the other places, they might be called, or they might say tabe hodai, or they might say Viking, which is Viking. So like Viking as in the Vikings, the ones that sailed the ships and explored the seas. Those Vikings, I think they use that term. I don't know where they got it, but I think it's a borrowed English term in terms of eating. I guess they ate a lot, and that's why they call it Viking. But Viking is pretty much like a buffet. So it's all you can eat. They have a variety of assorted different foods and desserts that you can choose from, and you can eat all you want. So that's another type of place that you can eat at, and it's not an izakaya, so the atmosphere is more of like a restaurant. And number 7, you might be surprised by this one if you've never been to Japan, or if you have been there, you probably may not have known about this, and these are net cafes. So They're kind of like if you've ever been to an internet cafe before they had Wi-Fi everywhere. You had to go to a shop to use the internet if you're traveling, for example, away from home without a computer. So you go to an internet cafe. So these net cafes are kind of like the internet cafes in that they have computers. Some of them have public areas, some of them have private rooms or cubicles. You can actually stay in one overnight and you can shower, which is a pro tip if you want to save money on a hotel. Net cafe is probably a cheaper way to do that. And usually they have like a drink station, which is all you can drink. And they might have a few snacks, or depending on where you go, they might actually have real food. And you don't have to stay there overnight. You can actually just stop there for a few hours if you want to rest. If you're in transit, for example, you want a place to sit down and just chill out for a bit. Highly recommend checking that out. Eighth thing is going to be the most obvious, and that's to use your concierge, your hotel concierge, or your Airbnb host to recommend a place that you can eat at that isn't too expensive. Never hurts to ask, right? And number 9 is going to be to use an app. So if you can read, this might require some Japanese. If you have data on your phone with a SIM card, an international SIM card, or if you have a pocket Wi-Fi, which is the portable Wi-Fi that you can rent at the airport, you'll have data access on your phone or your tablet. And you can use an app like OpenTable is the most common one in the US, where you can get points or cash back for eating out. So depending on where you go, some restaurants might have certain promotions like $10 off or $1 for making that reservation at a certain time, which is usually when they're not busy. That's why they have that promotion. There's also Japanese apps, so Tabedog is one of them. Oh yeah, and I guess a bonus tip is to be mindful of where it is that you're eating at. So if you're eating at a really high-end neighborhood, Ginza, for example, in Tokyo is a pretty nice neighborhood. It's a posh neighborhood. They have a lot of designer stores there and a lot of nice restaurants. That may tend to be a little bit more expensive than a working class neighborhood or shitamachi, where they have a lot of different, I guess, more of a hole in the wall or regular working class type of restaurants. So keep that in mind as well. Hope you guys found this helpful, and if you have any questions or comments, if I missed anything, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And other than that, I will see you in my next video. So, bye bye.